In this episode, I will reveal something to you that will completely change your perception of the story of Noah. And what if I told you everything that most believers think they know about adultery is biblically wrong? Stay tuned to this episode of One Stop Shop, where we expose the truth hidden in the Bible.
Break it. The red pill brought me out of the matrix, so I see it off of what it is.
Peace, family. Welcome to another episode of One Stop Shop. I'm your host, Rock. This is going to be part 3 of my testimony. I'm going to be a little vulnerable with you guys today, open up and tell you about the relationship that I had when I first came into the truth. This was a few years ago now, over 5 years ago. Pretty much what happened was when I first came into the truth, like I said, I didn't know anything about anything. I didn't know anything about the Bible. I didn't know. I was learning it all brand new. I came into the truth in June of about 2018. That's where I was like, okay, this Bible is real. And I want to learn more about it. And by September, I was like, Father, I give my life to you. Show me the way. And that November, I found out that my ex was cheating on me. Yep, she was cheating on me when I was away at school. I was in Virginia. She was still in LA, and came back and found out, yeah, okay. She told me, and you know how it goes. I had to get it out of her. She's not gonna tell me, how. But we got it out, and yeah. So what do I do now? I'm still very new into this word. Didn't know much about it, but Jesus said to forgive 70 times 7. So who would I be to not forgive you, especially when you're, trying to learn this word with me? That was then and this is now. However, nah, that's not what the Bible actually says. The Bible does not say to forgive fornication. The Bible does not forgive adultery. Now, of course, Jesus taught that he without sin cast the first stone, but that's also with the understanding of the Torah. The Torah is very, very strict when it comes to adultery because they understand the significance of it. Now, at that time, I learned about microchimerism. Now, when a woman lays down with the man that she has sex with, and that's supposed to be her husband, she retains a part of his DNA, his semen in her brain. This is why when a man died back in the old days, she was to marry his brother if he didn't have any children already. That is Torah, just to keep his name, just to keep his lineage going. Say, I have a brother and I die, and she were to marry him to keep my lineage going, Rock's lineage going. It wouldn't even be his child. It would technically be to keep my lineage going. Nonetheless, I didn't know what I was doing. So I chose to forgive her. It was hard. I dealt with a lot of pride. I felt naked. I felt very naked. I felt very, I was always on edge. I was never comfortable around her. I felt like I'm sleeping with the enemy. I actually told that to one of the homies. I'm like, bro, after everything happened and came out, I dumped her and sent her back home. I'm like, man, I felt like I was sleeping with the enemy. Like, nah, I wasn't at peace. I didn't even want to have sex with her anymore. So I don't want to be too explicit, but this is biblical. Didn't want to have sex with her. And and that's when I started researching more and more about adultery and what is adultery in the Bible. And that's when I came across the story of Noah. And in the story of Noah, in Genesis 9, let me pull it up for you. We'll read it together. Genesis 9, verse 19. It says, "These are the 3 sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. And Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard. And he drank of the wine, and was drunken. And he was uncovered within his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan." Notice it always says the father of Canaan when it speaks about Ham. The Bible speaks about Ham. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his 2 brethren without. And Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders and went backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. And their faces were backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine, and knew what his younger son had done unto him. And he said, Cursed be Canaan. He doesn't curse Ham, he curses Canaan. Canaan doesn't even have anything to do with this story up till now. But he says, Cursed be to Canaan. A servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. And he said, Blessed be the Lord, Yahweh, God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. Now, reading that, I know most believers, they say that Noah was drunk and he was a drunkard and he was naked, and, Ham came in and saw him naked, and so he cursed him. When in reality, that's not really what's going on, because in order to really understand the Bible, you have to read it forwards and backwards. You have to read it in both directions. And just because you've read it one time does not mean that you understand it in its entirety, right? So let's go to Leviticus 18 now. Leviticus 18 verse 7, because we need to understand what is the nakedness of a man. What is the nakedness of a woman? Now, Leviticus 18 verse 7 says, the nakedness of your father or the nakedness of your mother shall you not uncover. She is your mother. You shall not uncover her nakedness. Okay, you shall not go into her. And the nakedness of your father's wife shall you not uncover. It is your father's nakedness. Okay, and this whole chapter speaks of fornication and who you're allowed to have sexual relations with and who you're not allowed to have sexual relations with. This is the same chapter you read about you're not supposed to sleep with your sister. That's incest. You're not supposed to sleep with another man. That's an abomination. So when you're speaking of the nakedness of a man, it is his woman, which makes sense because when you hear the music out nowadays and you hear how men talk about, oh yeah, I slept with your wife, I slept with your girl. It hits men differently because a woman, our wife, we are protective over. We are head over them, right? The same way that God is head over us, and He doesn't want us going off and to whore after other gods. And He says that all throughout the Bible. He says, you are a backsliding people. You whore after these other gods. Stop doing that. You shall have no other gods before me. This is the same thing when it comes to our women. We are head over them, right? We're supposed to love them as Christ loves the church. They're supposed to be submissive to us, as it says in Ephesians, right? So when I was going through what I was going through, like I said, I felt naked. I felt very disgusted with myself. Like, man, I'm supposed to forgive, but this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right at all. So going back to the whole story with Ham went into his mother essentially, and I don't want to use explicit verbiage or language on this channel, but he was essentially a mother effer, So he saw the nakedness of his father. They had a child together, Canaan. That's where Canaan comes from. It says Ham is the father of Canaan. And when you study Ham's lineage, you see that Ham's pretty much kind of the problem child. He's always getting into stuff. So Ham went in, he had sex with Noah's wife, which Leviticus was not written at the time, and that's why Leviticus was written, because there was a lot of stuff going on in Genesis that he did not want to happen again. Lot's daughters having sex with him because they thought they were the last two in the world after Sodom and Gomorrah. So they had sex with their father, got him drunk, had sex with him, and had Moab. So there was a lot of things in Leviticus that he's like, okay, let me put this in order. Rachel and Leah, you are not supposed to be sisters married to the same man because of all the stuff that comes with it. He does not forbid polygyny. He does not forbid having multiple wives, but he forbids sisters, blood sisters, marrying the same man. Okay, let's keep going. Now, I know what most Christians say when it comes to adultery. A woman is not supposed to sleep with another man, and a husband is not supposed to sleep with another woman. However, that is not what the Bible says. The Bible only talks about two forms of adultery. The first form being that a married woman is not supposed to sleep with another man, right? And a man is not supposed to sleep with another man's wife, okay? There's only two forms, and we can dig into it a little bit more. But once again, a married woman, which back in the day, you're supposed to be married if you're having sex anyway. So a married woman was not supposed to sleep with another man, and another man is not supposed to sleep with another man's wife, okay? Doesn't say anything about another man sleeping with another single woman or unmarried woman, just another man's wife. Let's see what the scripture says. Deuteronomy 22:22. If a man is found sleeping with another man's wife, both the man who slept with her and the woman must die. You must purge the evil from Israel. There it is. If another man is found sleeping with another man's wife, then the man sleeping with the woman and the wife should die. And that's why when Jesus says in that story that he without sin cast the first stone, it was a little funky because they didn't bring the man, they only brought the wife. They were supposed to bring both, but they were like, oh, this woman was found sleeping with another man, she's an adulteress. Well, where's the man? But he said he without sin cast the first stone because that's a higher level of understanding. So that's Deuteronomy 22:22. The next verse we're going to pull up is Leviticus 20:10. And it reads, and the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, him the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. So once again, another example of, hey, a man that is single, it doesn't have to be single, a man that is getting with another man's wife, you're guilty of adultery. So all these men out here talking about, yeah, I effed your B and I slept with your girl and this, that, and the other, it's like, yeah, you're an adulterer. And these women that are allowing that, they are adulteresses. Okay, it's not a married man sleeping with another single woman. That is not adultery, right? That is a form of polygyny if he's covering her. But that is not adultery. And polygyny is allowed in the Bible. However, I understand we are in America. We are under this Western Greek Roman Empire. So they have their Greek Roman Empire ways. However, when we speak about this book, this is an Eastern book. This is an African book. So a lot of practices that still take place even in Africa and around most of the world, polygyny is accepted around most of the world. I was just in Africa last year. I was just in Nigeria. I was just in Burkina Faso. And I talked to a woman in Burkina Faso and she was like, and I'm like, yeah, do you guys, do polygyny? Like when a man takes another wife, why you want another wife? She started playing with him like, I'm just asking, for research purposes only. And she's like, yeah, we do that. That's tolerated here in our culture. It's an African book. These people were of African descent. So this is a culture that was tolerated then. But once we got assimilated into this white, Caucasian, Greco-Roman system of monogamy, then that's when we adopted these beliefs. But this was not always so. Let's keep going. Peace, family. Quick intermission to just remind you guys to like and subscribe if you guys are enjoying this content. Also, this video is sponsored by The Healing Cup. The Healing Cup is a holy tea company. It's one of my sisters that has started a great company of reminding everybody that we need to take care of our bodies. If you guys are into tea the same way I am, then go on their website right now, buy you a packet of Inner Peace. I'm biased. That's my personal favorite. And support. We're all in this as one body of Christ. All praise to the Most High. Let's get back to the show. All right, let's go to Matthew 19:9 now. All right, I'll actually start at verse 8. Now, this is the Messiah talking, and this is where you find in the New Testament where he speaks of adultery as well. And he saith unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered, meaning allowed you, to put away your wives. But from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication. Now remember Leviticus 18, we just went over that. And that's where you find all the description of fornication, from bestiality to sleeping with your mama to marrying two sisters to sleeping with your auntie, your brother, your sister, all these different forms of abomination, right? In there, you do not find that a man cannot have multiple wives. It doesn't say that. It says that if they're wives, then they cannot be sisters. There's many places in the Bible. Exodus 21, it talks about having multiple wives. Deuteronomy 21, it talks about having multiple wives if you're going to marry another woman, and you love this, I'm not going to get too deep in it right now on this show, but let's keep going with verse 9. It says, except it be for fornication, right? So different situations, and this is real life. If guys get with a woman, back then you had to, if you wanted to have sex with her, you had to marry her. And if you were going to marry her, then it's supposed to be forever, right? So, but again, we're dealing with the heart posture of men, right? So some of these men had lust, some of these men were just trying to get with them, and then they found that they were not happy with the actual woman in the long-term relationship. And so they wanted to put them away. They wanted to divorce them, write a bill of divorce, right? Because during this time, men had the power to divorce the woman. Women were not divorcing men. So they were the ones writing the bill of divorce, as it says in the Torah, as Moses wrote. And so they're divorcing these women over petty stuff. If they burnt their food, if they did something that was just like, they annoyed them, they're trying to divorce these women. And so that's why when the Messiah comes, he's adding a different level of understanding. If Moses brought this Torah, and we'll say the Torah is a high school teacher, the Messiah is a PhD teacher, right? The Messiah was sinless in the Torah. I mean, he understood the Torah. He understood the laws of the first 5 books. And he understood that, okay, I'm Christ-like, I want to be righteous, you have to do the Torah, but then there's another level. There's the, yes, eye for an eye, but turn the other cheek. Yes, adultery means that you're supposed to kill them, but he without sin cast the first stone. Right? So, with all that being said, he's adding another layer on top. He's not dismissing it, because we read in Matthew chapter 5, verse 17 through 19, and I'm going to pull it up right here. This is what it says. Think not. And this is in red print. This is the Messiah speaking. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I have not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass away. So not until he cleans this whole slate, heaven and earth pass away. This is Revelation 20. When the big dog comes down, when the Most High comes down, not until then will one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. So this law is married to this earth, right? So whosoever shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Christians love to skip this. They love to pass over these 2 verses right here, because it says that the law is still very much so in effect. Are we slaves to the law? No. We're not slaves to the law anymore. Galatians 3 says that it was a school teacher. It taught us. Romans 6 and 7, Paul is like, hey, without the law, I would not even know what sin is. The law is very important, because sin is the transgression of the law. Right? So let's go back to where we were in Matthew 19. When he says, okay, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. So again, he's taking it to a higher level. He's like, nah, you commit adultery because she hasn't done anything. But if she sleeps with another man, in my situation, if she does that, then you put her away, because that's like the unforgivable one. It's like, nah, bro, you can't do that. You corrupted yourself, right? And it also, in the law, says that you're not supposed to go into a woman if she's been with another man. If you divorce her and she remarries and has sex with another man, breaks up with them, or he dies, you cannot take her back. So there's something to that, and I know science can probably break it down a little bit more, and, with just praying a little bit more, you're able to see, okay, no, she's her DNA, her genetics, and if you ever dealt with a situation with a woman and you might have talked to her at one point in her life, and then, y'all had sex, whatever, and then this is when I was still in the world, and then you go away, and then you come back to her, and after she's been with another man, she's not the same woman. That is not the same woman at all. So again, it's about the heart posture. Jesus is not saying that you cannot take another wife. Polygyny is still very much so in effect. And polygyny is not a sin. You are not going to be able to show me anywhere in the law where it says polygyny is a sin. The Messiah did not say anywhere in the New Testament that polygyny is a sin. He's talking about if you put your wife away for a petty reason right here, you commit adultery. Your heart posture is not like Christ, where it says love your wife like Christ loves the church. Right? So in your heart, you're wrong. You're wrong. So anyway, I'm not going to harp too long on this. I've gone in a lot already. That's my testimony. That's part 3. Hey, this next one's going to be a heavy hitter. I'm going to talk about my experience in a cult. Because right after I broke up and I had to write her a bill of divorce, which I did. I wrote her a bill of divorce. If you need a template, I got that. But I had to write her a bill of divorce, and I sent her home. I called her father. I told her, hey, because it came to me in a dream. In a dream, that's how the Most High told me that, there's some more here that has not been uncovered yet. And so, once he put me on the path, and I had to do what I had to do and investigate, and found, okay, this ain't it, this forgiveness, I gotta send her home. This is not the woman for me. She's stressing me out. I look older. I look more stressed out. I'm going through all types of stuff in my life. My car breaking down. It was a lot. It was a lot. Job loss, all this type of stuff. It was a lot. That's why you have to choose the right woman if you're a man. For real, it's gonna change your entire life. So anyway, this next one though, like I said, I broke up with her and immediately went into a cult. So stay tuned for episode 4. This is your host, Rock, One Stop Shop. I'm out of here, man. All praise to the Most High, y'all. See you on Judgment Day.
Break it. The red pill brought me out of the matrix, so I see it off for what it is.